It's very pretty here. It's quiet, calm, serene, peaceful. It's really easy to contemplate in such a setting. And it's actually been 7 years since I've been here. So pretty much the only thing that's changed is it's grown a lot more. And one thing that hasn't changed is the urge to contemplate. In actual fact, one would argue the reasons and the need to contemplate have become ever more intense. Why is that? Well, if you think about our economy, traditionally, it was supposed to be a pyramid with a lot of people at the bottom and a few at the top. Of course, it'd be always some kind of upward drift. But the rate it's become the past few years, now we're looking at a few animals, a lot of animals at the bottom, sorry, and very few birds in the sky. So, why is that? It seems to me I want to talk about the price of attachment to this structure we call civilization and society. So, in the 50s, the 60s, less so the 70s, and especially the 80s, was what you call the halcyon days, you know? Everything was pretty good. Just like that beautiful trellis I just showed you. You have these real strong columns leading up, and these beautiful big thick vines strengthening and growing, and all the way to the top, lots of leaves sprouting out of the sunshine. A lot of beauty, a lot of growth, a lot of opportunity. And yet when we came to the 90s, the thousands, the tens, and especially now the 20s, not so much. So what's going on there? I mean, you can talk about all the spheres of knowledge, all the arguments, all the reasons, the geopolitical, the demographic, everything that's been going on with the financial system and the politicians and the elites and the corporations. So the answer probably is all of the above. Now here's something I want to add in. One of the founders, one of the great men of this country, and I'll paraphrase here, he made just I'll give you a broad sweep of what he said. He said, a man in any one day, if what he does, his work, his efforts, if he can benefit from that and be better the next day, then that's all a man wants. In other words, the fruits of his labours go to his own betterment. Then, you know, not just getting like aspirations and hopes and all that. The amount you put in, you can look forward to having something more the next day and the day after that. Well, where are we now in this structure we live in that we're trying to frantically stay attached to? Again, not so much. Now, if I traveled about 100 miles that way to the Northern California coast of California, not my birth state, California, and I decided I was going to sleep in the dunes and fish in the sea every day for my dinner. then as long as I put the effort in and I caught a fish, I can have the expectation that I'll have a belly full that night with a meal. And if I was able to keep that up every day I'll be able to feed myself and keep myself going. And so the wealth of that, the benefits of those efforts would accrue solely to me. And if I wanted to improve myself from there, then well and good. But in this structure, this society, this civilization that we have now, the price to live, all those basics that you need just to exist and to stay attached to this system, make it so that ever more you're more and more likely not to be able to remain attached to that system. Now this is happening in my home country of Australia right now. It's a Western worldwide thing. The idea of being able to have your own home and your own shelter and basically be able to have a bedrock of prosperity and improve yourself from there, it's non-existent. In actual fact, the amount of homelessness that are in Australia right now is horrific. It's starting to parallel what's happening in the United States. In the United States, that's fine. That's what we do well, right? We have homelessness. Although when I came here 25 years ago, again, not so much. I remember in 1983 at the main mall in Melbourne, I saw the only homeless guy I'd ever seen in Australia for like 20-something years from then on. He was a drunk, and they had a Christmas band, and he was kind of annoying because he's coming up and trying to sing to the Christmas band on Christmas Eve. That's the only homeless guy I ever knew for a long, long time. I've known a lot more since, primarily in the US because I came here in '99. But of course, I know of so many more down there now because this is a Western issue. So I spent a long time trying to understand this, and it just ends up with more and more questions. And at some point, you know, this pyramid, it's really collapsing. It's getting more and more like this one level on the bottom and like a tiny little block at the top. So I guess really out of all of these questions and answers, like, what do you want? Do you want a collapse? Do you want a Messiah like a Jesus or a Trump to come and save you? I mean, maybe that will happen. Certainly one could argue that if one had a collapse, then, whoa, maybe the flip side of that is you get a big reset. Everything comes back to normal like it was in the 80s. Do you think that's going to happen? I don't know. There doesn't seem to be any, and that's what I'm reaching for. That's what I'm reaching for. I don't want to know about how bad it is and how bad it's been and how bad it's going to be. What I want to know is there going to be a choke point where all of this just comes tumbling down, and then it gets to a point where there is some form of a reset? I guess what I want to know is I want to be given a framework. Is this going to end, and is it going to improve? You know, all the experts, even all the people on the YouTube channels out there, they're not asking this question. Can you please just give me a framework for when and how quickly this thing will improve? I guess that's where we really need to go.